This is Indianapolis, one of the top event cities in America, known for record-breaking attendance, community-driven activations, and countless memories made. Tourism generates billions of dollars in economic impact, creating jobs and supporting local businesses, all while building our city's reputation for greatness. But that impact doesn't happen without world-class venues, and those venues depend on the Capital Improvement Board. The Capital Improvement Board is a municipal corporation created by the General Assembly to own and operate public facilities like the Indiana Convention Center. Since 1966, they've helped finance the construction of these venues and thoughtfully invested in their maintenance, staffing, and renovation over the years. This includes the Indiana Convention Center, Lucas Oil Stadium, Gamebridge Fieldhouse, Victory Field, Hudnut Commons, and the new Signia by Hilton Hotel.
Millions of people come to Indy for conventions and sporting events that wouldn't come here otherwise. And when they come, they see what's special about Indianapolis, and that's the hospitality, that is our pride.
What I don't think people realize about the CIB is they are the backbone to all of this and everything that we've been doing. We wouldn't be able to bring events here. We wouldn't have the conventions that we have here if we didn't have the vision of the CIB and the hard work that they do to help us execute on our events.
We tend to think of the Capital Improvement Board as the caretakers of facilities, but really they're working hand in hand with city partners, with state partners, with Visit Indy and other civic organizations.
Visit Indy receives 90% of its funding to go out and sell and market Indianapolis from the CIB. And that's a steady, partner-related revenue stream for Visit Indy. And as we go into battle and battle with these larger cities to try to win convention business and trade shows and get more people to visit to drive economic impact, we lean on our partner, the CIB, each and every day.
Whether it be the swim trials, the Super Bowl, the Pan American Games, all of the Final Fours that we've hosted, the Big Ten football championships, Gen Con, Taylor Swift, all these things that have happened in downtown is because the CIB has quietly done their job.
We're the best. We get them in and out. No drama, no extra costs. Nobody's slow walking it. Buildings are clean. Buildings are efficient. There's not some loading dock door that's stuck and broken and has been there for months.
That culture was really built back when we first opened the first convention center. And the staff, the small staff that was brought in to start that, they started that culture of we're going to be the best. And the building's always going to be clean, and it's always going to be operating correctly.
When I travel across the country, people always ask, how do you guys get those events? How do you get those events? How do you get those events? It's because of the teamwork, the vibrancy, the camaraderie, and that is not something that is commonplace throughout the country.
Indianapolis has benefited from many great visionaries, beginning with Mayor Barton and carried on by Richard Lugar, Bill Hudnut, Jim Morris, P.E. McAllister, and countless others who looked at our city, saw its opportunities, and were willing to invest in its potential.
You have to take yourself back to the 60s. We didn't have a major university downtown. We didn't have a city county building. We didn't have skyscrapers. We didn't have the Salesforce Tower. The downtown that we know now and that is thriving, that has made us who we are, did not exist at all.
I remember Indianapolis before the CIB. We were a city that didn't draw people in for anything other than this major race every year. That was a big, big deal, of course, and still is. But that was really all we had.
We were wise enough as a community to say we need something that is going to be a catalyst for strategic development, and that is not necessarily going to be at the whim of individual leaders at the State House or at the city. We need something that is going to go from election to election regardless and continue powering our city.
When state leaders came to city leaders and said, let's put in place the Capital Improvement Board and let's make one of our first projects the Indiana Convention Center. That was the focal point, the foundation block of which all of our tourism has grown.
As that was developed and the first phase of the convention center was built, that started to transform the city, the downtown skyline.
The CIB was kind of the North Star to make sure that all of the decisions were intentional and they all made sense within our tourism ecosystem overall. They're not just thinking about what's the easiest, what's the cheapest. They're thinking about what's the best for the community.
Building the Hoosier Dome was a very creative, out-of-the-box risk. The people that were involved were really intelligent and thinking pragmatically about what this city needed.
Mayors will come and go, and governors will come and go, and sometimes businesses and business leaders will come and go. But to have an entity that's that invested in our success, waking up and thinking every day about how we can be better and what we should be doing and how we can grow in a smart way is incredibly important to Indianapolis's future.
From day one, the CIB was founded on the principles of visionary thinking and smart investment, working with the tourism industry to identify what our city needs next and finance them in a responsible, sustainable way.
What the development of these new facilities does is it helps grow our tax base, and it uses funds from that growth that are invested in paying and maintaining those facilities.
The majority of what goes into paying for the bond debt is actually brought in by visitor spending. The hotel taxes, food and beverage taxes, the ticket admission taxes, car rental taxes, the operating revenues of the convention center and Lucas Oil Stadium. So you think about that, we're paying pennies on the dollar as residents to be able to have a Lucas Oil Stadium for the Colts, to be able to have a Gainbridge Fieldhouse for the Pacers.
People may disagree about the best use of our tax dollars, but the CIB has been a good steward of these funds for decades because our lawmakers have seen the value CIB provides, both in economic impact and Hoosier jobs.
It's a return on investment. We have over 80,000 individuals within our community or in the greater metro area who are employed in hospitality and are supported by 30 million visitors that come to Indianapolis.
They check into our hotels, they check out our venues and dine and shop and generate economic impact, and that is an economic development strategy.
The public funds that get invested in the CIB are great investments. They pay off in so many ways, and in ways that aren't even on a balance sheet. The civic pride, the jobs they create, the amount of times that we're on national broadcasts, other cities would give their right arms for that.
Because these events are not just for visitors. They provide once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for local residents and make Indianapolis a city they're proud to call home.
We don't just host conventions for the sake of hosting conventions. It really is about building up Indianapolis, about highlighting the incredible people and places that make our community dynamic, that make companies want to invest here, that make people want to live here.
Arts and culture is what makes Indianapolis special, makes it unique. The artists here literally make the city come alive, which is why when there are so many events, we always incorporate the arts because we want to make sure that we're getting people excited, inspiring them, and that's what artists can do.
We're highlighting artists, highlighting community programs and projects, how we're giving back to the community with each and every one of these major events that we put on. It really is about the ways in which those ripple effects support a more vibrant Indianapolis.
There are any number of mayors around the country who would tell you when we got this sports team, the rest of the country started looking at us differently. The sports brings people together. It expands the tax base. It brings arts. It brings businesses to the city, and everybody benefits because of it.
We have an incredible city with incredible neighborhoods, but because of the investments in the convention center, in the stadiums, in the field house, and all the other things that the Capital Improvement Board invests in, has totally taken our city to another level.
I think for anyone who in the last 60 years has enjoyed watching on TV, attending in person, having friends or family come visit. It could be NBA finals, it could be Big Ten championships, it could be a Pacers game, a Fever game, a Colts game. If you've enjoyed any of those things or the ancillary things that come from those things, then you owe the CIB a big thank you.
For 60 years, the Capital Improvement Board has dared to envision a future where Indianapolis stands among the best cities in America. Now it's our turn to carry on that legacy and build our city to new heights.
At the time, that was a calculated risk for Indianapolis to put up a convention center and put its stake in the ground to be a convention-related city, and it's worked. Throughout the decades, the CIB has dared the community to dream and think bigger and more boldly.
But that's why Indianapolis has been so successful. We have leaders and we have supporters that are willing to take the kind of risks that propel Indianapolis to even higher heights.
There's the saying, you're either growing or you're dying. We have to continue to look ahead. We have to continue to build. We need to continue to have that vision.
And when I'm out pitching to rights holders and people who own events, we talk a lot about how Indy just isn't sitting back on its laurels and just living in the history. We're actually reinvesting in ourselves. We're making ourselves better. And those are done quietly and done without fanfare because they know it's the right thing to do.
I get a little emotional about this stuff, but you got to remember who started all this, right? P. McAllister was the first leader of the CIB. Fantastic man. Did an unbelievable job in making sure the CIB got off on the right direction. Jim Morris, Dick Lugar, all those people, absolutely critical to what happened with the CIB. We have to maintain it. We just do.
Everyone on the CIB all understand themselves as heirs to this legacy of continued growth and success. We are not going to let down the people that came before us.